Hey guys, Mopower here. Going to be doing a video about the Apprentice. This is the mage type class, and it's leans more towards offensive tower build versus the Squire, which is more of a defensive tower build. So I'm going to go over what the towers are, their pros and cons, and how to use them. Alright, first we've got the Magic Missile Tower. Now the Magic Missile Tower is a neutral damage base, so you won't have to deal with the immunities that some mobs have. It's very, very handy. It is a lower damage per shot, but it's a high firing attack speed. So it does fire a lot faster than, say, the Fireball Tower, but it is a single mob at a time. It's only shoots one shot at a time, and so it's pretty much the standard, what you'll use a lot of as you're playing your Apprentice. This one here is, I like to do about 2 magic missiles to every Fireball Tower. It works pretty well. Now the Fireball Tower is a fire-based, obviously. You will have to run into some mobs that are fire immune and adjust accordingly. That's why you don't want to run just a Fireball Tower on one side or wherever you have your defenses, because you will have the immunities. Now this here is a slower firing but higher damage splash effect. Now when it attacks a mob, it'll also attack mobs near it. It's very handy for taking out groups of mobs, very good damage dealing. So it's definitely a tower you'll want to use. Now you have the Magic Blockade. Now the Magic Blockade only costs 1 defensive unit, so that is very nice. It also has a unique ability where when a mob attacks it, it will remove any elemental immunities that mob has. Now currently it does not work for archers, range mobs. It doesn't seem to remove their immunities, but it does work for melee. So being that this is the only wall you have, it does have low health, but normally if you upgrade them a couple times, they'll be okay. And the nice thing about the Apprentice, it tends to kill most of the stuff before they get up to the walls anyway. They do pretty well. Next you have the Lightning Tower. Now the Lightning Tower is a slower firing, but it will hit a mob and arc the electricity through multiple mobs. Sometimes it can hit 10, 15 mobs at a time. It just depends on how many are out there, how close they are, and what level your towers are. Now, with that ability, you are running into electro immunity mobs. So sometimes it may only hit 3 or 4 mobs. It all depends. Now, the slow recharge on it is okay if you have other defenses to compensate for it. So say you have a lightning and maybe a couple magic missiles that'll attack mobs beforehand, because when you get a lot of mobs coming at one time, you'll have the downside to this only firing sometimes. Now, the nice thing about these is this will also hit multiple mobs, but it'll stun them. So it works very well as well. Okay, now, let's see. The Deadly Striker Tower. Deadly Striker Tower is an extremely slow firing. It's pretty much a one-shot kill for the most part until you get up into the insane levels. It does a very high damage shot, but it's slow firing, so most people don't tend to use them anymore. Sometimes they'll use them for air units because they're pretty much a one-shot kill. But once you get up to later waves, you get quite a few coming, and sometimes this just isn't fast firing enough. So for the 8 defensive unit cost of the Deadly Striker Tower, you'd be better off doing a Fireball Tower and a Magic Missile Tower. Overall, it's going to cover a lot more mobs at a time and do more damage in the long run. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That is the Towers of the Apprentice. I will go over the 2 abilities the Apprentice has. One is called Overcharge, and the other one is called Mana Bomb. Now, Mana Bomb, in my situations playing, isn't very useful. There are certain situations if you run up against some defenses where the mobs are just starting to overrun it, take down stuff. If you run up real quick, cast Mana Bomb while staying out of range of the mobs, it'll do an AoE, knock them back, and hopefully buy you enough time to cast your heal, your upgrade, whatever you need to do to try to keep the defenses up. Now, the other ability is called Overcharge, and that is one of my best abilities that I've found out of all the classes that are like the best. Now, Overcharge, when you cast it, it's a very low upkeep for the mana cost. It only costs 8 to start it, and as long as you're near mobs that are dying, it'll take a long time before it has to wear off. Um, and with the ability running, anything you cast will be done very, very quickly. 3 to 5 times roughly quicker depending on how much points you have in there. I don't bother putting any points into it for a tower-based character, even a DPS one, because you tend to get quite a bit from your gear. I mean, I have 134, and even like 30 or 40 would be enough. So with that ability, your heals become almost instant. Your upgrades are way quicker. Your repairs, everything. It makes very, very nice utility. They are the single most sought after characters for repair, characters for like survival. When people want people to join their games to pass high levels of survival, they like to have an apprentice repairing, because they can do it very, very quickly. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is meant for the new characters. They're just starting out, and if you are a new character, I would suggest your first playthrough of the game to either be on an apprentice or a squire. The apprentice tends to be more damage based, where the squire tends to be more defensive based, but both of them are very good. Now if you do decide to be a squire, choose the Countess version if you have the character DLC. They are much quicker than the male counterparts. They recently nerfed the speed of the males to, I really don't like playing the males anymore at starting levels. I end up dumping the first like 20 points in the speed just so I can stand running around. So if you have the option, go with the female version for tower spec. They're pretty much identical, but you're just going to be a faster character. So something to keep in mind. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed. To either be on an apprentice or a squire. The apprentice tends to be more damage based, where the squire tends to be more defensive based, but both of them are very good. Now if you do decide to be a squire, choose the Countess version if you have the character DLC. They are much quicker than the male counterparts. They recently nerfed the speed of the males to, I really don't like playing the males anymore at starting levels. I end up dumping the first like 20 points in the speed just so I can stand running around. So if you have the option, go with the female version for tower spec. They're pretty much identical, but you're just going to be a faster character. So something to keep in mind. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed.